All right, let's get into it. Welcome to your 2024 digital marketing plan for damage restoration contractors. If you're here, hopefully you do restoration in some form or fashion, but this will still be relevant and valuable even if you do construction, GC work, air duct cleaning, carpet cleaning, remodel. A lot of our clients, do some sort of water, fire, mold type services, but you guys have other divisions that are relevant as well, and I think you'll still be able to get some value from this. So let's dive right into it. So the plan for this training is this time of year is a great time to set new targets and goals on, how much you want to grow and scale your company this year, right? So we're going to reverse engineer that and help you guys break it down to where you know what has to happen in order to achieve your goals. And we're going to look at the KPIs needed to hit those goals, and then we're going to take a look at your budget, different channels you can use to accomplish those goals. And we're also going to look at some trends that we're going to see play out more and more in 2024. And then I have this too, I just ask that, you're here, so you might as well pay attention. And, this is a time to work on your business, not in your business, right? Everything else that comes up, there's always fires that need to be put out. That's just business, it's life. So it can wait, right? All I ask is for 60 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep it to 45 minutes to an hour because I want to be respectful of your time at the same time because we all have things to do, right? So let's dive into it. So you should have gotten a link to the workbook. And if you haven't, I'm going to drop it in the chat now. And you won't have time to go through this entire workbook on today's call, but I recommend, blocking some time on your calendar sometime today, tomorrow, this weekend, early next week to work through this workbook because there's a lot in it and there's a lot of good stuff. And I think it'll really help you get some clarity. All right, so I put the link in the chat. And so if you go down the bottom of your screen, hover over the black bar, there'll be, just click chat, and it should populate open up a new window. Then you click that link. And it should, actually, that might be the, let's check real quick. Yeah. And then in the top right-hand corner, there's a little arrow pointing down. Click that. That's the download button. So then you can download it and you can open it up as a PDF on your computer and fill it in from there. So hopefully that everybody got that figured out. All right, so there you go. So some of the stuff I'm going to cover on today's webinar will be straight from that workbook. There are a few pages just due to time constraints that we're not going to get to. So like I said, I encourage you to spend some time working through it as we go through the call today and spending some more time once we get off here. So let's keep moving forward. So I recognize some of the names on here. I see some new names and faces as well. But just a quick recap. So I'm the founder and CEO of Restoration Marketing Group. We do marketing for restoration companies at the end of the day, right? We grow and scale restoration companies by leveraging the internet. And I worked in construction before starting this company, so it gives us a unique perspective and angle when it comes to, because I've worked on the construction side and now we have the digital marketing aspect, so we can see it from two perspectives, and that's pretty valuable. And we've been helping grow and scale restoration companies, hundreds all across the country, all markets, and all markets are different. I get that, and that's why this stuff is not black and white sometimes, because there's a lot of variables that go into this stuff, and that's what makes it tricky, right? But we have been doing this for a long time, so we kind of have figured out some things that work. So, and again, these are just reviews, and again, I can say we're good all day, but we have the things we're going to talk about today, I went into our accounts, talked to some of our account managers, because some people still say, like, again, I come from construction. I can say that, like, oh, Jamie, nobody goes to Google when their house floods. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, literally, we have people making millions. And again, it's like, well, how does that, and again, so I pulled this out, as you can see from some of the text messages we get. And these are commercial jobs, but $722,000 from 2 phone calls. This is one of our clients down in Florida. He gets hundreds of calls a month. So, and again, this is from Google, right? And a lot of people think you don't need a website, you don't need internet marketing. I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money by putting this stuff in place. Now, is every call, going to be a $260,000 job or 400? No, it's not, right? We got to be realistic about it. But this stuff works if you get it in place, and that's what we're going to talk more about today. And again, it's not just these guys. I mean, I'm not going to like sit here and talk about these the whole webinar. I want to add value to you guys. I'm just showing you, this stuff, this particular part, 4 to 5x the number of leads he's getting. Here's a $95,000 rebuild, right? Like this stuff works. So just hang in there. We'll cover about some of these strategies that we're doing to get these type of results. So let's dive into it. So part 1 of this, yeah, I can email you the workbook, but not right here, right now. But after this, I can shoot it over to you, and you can take a look for sure. All right, so step 1, we got to set clear goals. Now, this might sound obvious to some of you, and it's already January 11th. So hopefully you've already mapped this out, maybe with your leadership team. If not, I mean, it's still, you kind of have this month, I feel like, to kind of get it figured out. But the sooner the better, right? Because you got to know where you're going. And so, like, what are your goals? I don't know if we have any Brian Tracy fans on here. We're big in our company about just personal development and improving. It's just a good, core value of ours that we like to implement. But Brian Tracy is I'm big on him. He says success is goals, all else is commentary, right? So if you don't know where you're going, you're just gonna end up in no man's land. So a good metaphor I like to talk about this is it's like a sailboat. I don't know if we have any sailors on the call or anybody on here has been sailing, but if you don't set the sails in the direction of where you're going, nothing happens, right? You'll just be sitting there. And so that's where setting clear goals is like putting wind in your sails to get you from point A to point B. So how do we start to do that? So let's take a current snapshot of where are you currently. So you can look at this at an annual revenue standpoint, average monthly revenue, and then we got to start breaking down. So what is your current revenue? How many jobs are you averaging per month? And then you got to look at your average ticket amount. And again, that'll vary. Some of you probably do rebuild. Some of you probably, just mitigation, right? Some of you will do mold removal, mold testing, rebuild, remodel, air duct cleaning, carpet cleaning, right? Like you got to think about that and make it relevant to your business, your specific situation. But, these are some good items to, think about, like your average ticket amount, what your closing rate is, how many trucks and techs do you currently have? And then, once you kind of have a current snapshot, where do you want to be at the end of the year? And again, you got to remember, and we're going to go to a different worksheet here in a minute to help you figure this out. But just for now, y'all can take notes. What's the revenue you want to be at the end? If you're doing 1 million this year and you want to double to 2, write that down, right? And then we got to start figuring out how many jobs per month do you need? How many crews or trucks is that going to look like? How many lead techs do you need? How much equipment are you going to need? And then why do you want it, right? A lot of times when we set goals, we don't think about, why do we want to achieve, said goal? Because, if you're a business owner on here, it's not going to be, you can't just set a goal and then everything just works perfectly. Like you'll get punched in the face along the way. That's just business. That's just what we have to deal with, right? So sometimes you have to figure out your why so you can stick through the tough times. But so now this is a great spreadsheet here. So I'm just figuring out how to do a copy link too. So let's see if this works, because I don't know. All right, so I'm putting another link in the chat. So everybody find your chat widget here. So this will open up the calculator, and this is what I want to work through with everybody for here for a minute, because this is important. And if you didn't take anything else away from today's call, this right here can help you have a monster year. Hey Rihanna, do me a favor, click that link and see if it worked for you. If it and put a 1 in the chat for me if it worked. Once you click that link, because I don't know if I did it right or not, but yeah, Nadar, I see your. Are y'all going to the chat widget and clicking the links? Yeah, hang on there. We might be having some link issues. Rihanna, let me know if it's working for you in the chat. Oh, all right. Sorry. I think I see the issue. Hang on, guys. Sorry. There's always technical difficulties, I guess. All right. I was messaging. All right, here we go. Hang on. Bear with me. Now, here we go. All right, now check the chat. Chat is disabled. All right, maybe it's in the Q&A. I don't know why. All right. Well, sorry for the technical difficulty. But if you guys check, well, check now, Rihanna. Let me know. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Everybody go to the chat, click the link. I just dropped in there, and that'll take you. And once we go through this, I'll put the workbook back in there so everybody gets that. But for now, we need to focus on. Well, everybody just use the Q&A chat because apparently the regular chat is disabled. You know. I think I'm better at growing and scaling restoration companies than I am working Zoom, apparently. So just bear with me on that. All right, but y'all have the link. So I'm assuming the link is working for everybody. I guess I'll be seeing in here that if it wasn't. All right. Thank you, Rihanna. It's working. Let's proceed. So I'm not going to go through. This is another worksheet. Man, it's you can get a ton of data on here. So we'll start going through a little bit of this now. Again, after this webinar, today, tonight, this weekend, whenever, y'all can figure that part out. Just finish going through this and really thinking about, and if you're the marketing director for a company, you're not the owner, you can fill this out on your own, go sit down with the owner and hash it out. But so let's say, and again, this is just an example. Let's say you want to do 2.5, right, in revenue this year. That's 208,000 a month. Now you can play with your average ticket amount. I've heard it all. It's some, the average mint job, what, maybe 3,500. Some people, they have Xactimate figured out and they're like, dude, we're clearing 7-8 grand a pop. Again, that's I don't know that number. You know that number, right? So in this example, 7,000's in there. We'll just use that as an example. And some of y'all that do rebuild, like it could be 10, 15, 20, right? Again, it's your business. You gotta change that sell accordingly. But in this example, 7,000 average ticket of value. That means you need 30 leads to hit that goal. Really, that's actually jobs. That's 30 jobs a month. Now, number of leads required to hit the target. So this is based on your conversion rate. And again, this will be all over the map. If you just do MIT, your closing rate will be higher, right? Anybody can close. I don't say anybody, but your closing rate will be extremely high. If it's, the toilet's overflowing with water and it's coming through the ceiling, you get the phone call, and you get out there, you better close that, right? That's the layup. But we all know if it comes to rebuild, mold removal, anything that's might not be emergency based, like your closing rate will not be 100%. And so for this example, let's just say it's 50% if we're just throwing everything in the pot, right? All the jobs, emergency, non-emergency. So we're closing at 50%. This is where we need 60 leads a month to hit the target of 208,000 a month, right? And then the average cost per lead generated. This will vary by market. Is, some markets it might be 300. Some of our clients it's closer to 100, right? In the low, less competitive markets. But if you guys use 33 mile, whatever, I mean, some markets it's 600 a pop, 700. Again, some of y'all in Houston, Miami, these bigger markets, it'll be. But for this calculator, for now, you can change this once you go get this data specific to your company. But I got $250 in there because that's for an exclusive water lead. Like if you can, as long as you can sell, like our clients will pay that all day, every day. Especially when you do the rebuild, right? You pay $250, you get a $20,000 job. Like I would highly advise paying that. So in this instance, your marketing budget, or based on this cost per lead, you'd be spending about $14,000, $15,000 a month, based on $250 per lead. Okay, so that's just to put things in context. Like you got to pay to play to grow and scale in this industry. It's competitive because you can make a fortune, as I'm sure some of y'all know, because they are very lucrative and there's high profit margins in this business compared to other businesses. But all that competition drives up the cost, and we're all dealing with this. The cost of advertising goes up over time. Whether we like it or not, that's reality. We have to deal with it. There's nothing we can do about that. We can't call Facebook and Google and just be like, hey, like, you mind like charging me like 2010 prices? Like that's just not how the world works, right? We just got to figure out how to optimize and make money from it. So that's that tab. Play with it more here in a little bit. Now, if we move on to the marketing budget planner. So in this case, let's say, your annual projected revenue is $1 million, right? So I should have had the 2.5 example still in here, but we'll use the $1 million example here. Now you can play with the percentage. I have 15% in here. This is a little bit more aggressive. If you some of y'all might have gotten your MBA. There's different rules on what marketing, what percentage of revenue should be spent on marketing. I hear anything as low as 5%. Some people that are more aggressive, they'll say 25%. If you're the owner and in charge of marketing, like you need to talk to your owner about that, figure it out. And this one, we just use 15%. That's a good, realistic, kind of happy medium. So that's 150,000 a year marketing budget. That's 12,500 a month. Now, here's where you can play with it too. You can allocate some of that to online, some of it to offline, some of it to repeat business. And repeat, that might be doing email campaigns, or, somebody in your office, you're paying them hourly to call old customers. And, this, again, you can't call them and just be like, hey, your house isn't on fire, is it? Like, I can help you out. Like, that's not, that's not relevant. But for some of y'all that do air duct cleaning or remodeling or other services that aren't emergency based, you can call and ask, like, hey, you don't know anybody? Or are you looking to get your ducts cleaned again? It's been 3 years, I see, since last time we did that. So that's what I mean when allocating some budget to repeat business. And then see here, that breaks down. All right, that's 112,000 for online. There's 30,000 for offline and 7,500 for repeat. And then it'll break it down by month as well. And again, I'm not, so you guys can after this, break it down, but then, specific to your business. But here's what's cool too. From the online perspective, you can break down the 112,000 by, I call them fishing poles for simplicity. Like a fishing pole, you put in the water to catch leads. Some of y'all do pay per lead or 33 mile, service direct, and Inquirely. Those are the big three a lot of our clients use. And again, why do they use those and us? Is more fishing poles in the water. To grow and scale a restoration company, you need multiple fishing poles in the water, because one thing we all hate is inconsistency of leads. There's only so many houses that flood a day. There's only so many houses that burn down a day. And again, we don't wish bad on anybody, but we need, in this industry, we need reputable companies to help them out and take care of their needs, right? So that's why I have different fishing poles here. And I've got SEO and Google Business Profile lumped together, pay-per-click and local service ads together, and then pay-per-lead. And again, you guys can manipulate this sheet to your specifics in your business. But see, this gives us annual budgets for the different fishing poles, and then you can break that down by month on how much you should be spending per fishing pole to hit your targets. And again, this is just $1 million a year. Some of y'all might be 10, 20, 30 million a year, right? And so that way you can update the numbers accordingly. And then also there's a tab on here where you can look at your average cost per lead. You know, we all like mold lead is going to be cheaper than a water lead, right? And so you can kind of play with your average ticket amount and your cost per lead on this tab. This particular tab is for any of you guys that might do, well, you can kind of look at it because, you know, our clients in Florida, their marketing is a little different than the people in the Northeast, right? And it varies by, is it hurricane season? The people in the Northeast, pipe burst, that kind of stuff, frozen pipes, like this is the time of year for that, right? So you can kind of break down the type of services you want to go after by fishing pole, as you can see on the top up here. And again, you guys can edit these as needed, but this way everybody's on the same page in your company on, hey, what time of year is it? You know, summertime, at least I'm in South Carolina, so it's really humid here. Like, so in the springtime, humidity picks up, mold removal issues, etc., will become more relevant as springtime hits. It kind of just depends on where you're at. But this way, everybody in your company can be on the same page, again, based on the fishing pole, time of year, what you're going after. And then there's also a tab on here I put about special offers. This could help with any text or email campaigns you guys might be doing. Like, and again, I just dropped some examples on here. These will be specific to you, your company. But you know, you could do a discount for first-time customers. You could, this is just an example, $25 off mold testing, 10% off mold removal, $200 off a repair job. I mean, y'all get the point. You guys can play with this kind of stuff, specific to the services you offer, time of year, etc. So these are all different tabs you guys can work through and play with after this. But I would put a lot of emphasis on the lead generation target and the budget allocations, because you know you're not going to go from 1 to 2.5 this year without changing something and investing in your company. I do come across a few companies that seem to think that they're just going to hit their goals without investing in their company. But that's why this calculator is to kind of help you reverse engineer it and figure out what needs to be changed. So that, again, hopefully this can be super valuable, but spend some time after this to kind of break that down for you. But it'll kind of help you, like I said, reverse engineer your goals and how you're going to get there to hit your goals. Now, let me real quick let me get you guys this. All right, I'm putting the workbook in the chat because I think I finally figured that out. All right, check the chat again, and this is the workbook link. And remember, whenever you click this link, you got to go to the top right-hand corner and click the arrow pointing down to download it as a PDF to your computer, and then you can save it and put it wherever you want to. But work through this. Like I said, there's some things in there that we're not even going to be able to have time to cover today, but there's a lot of good stuff in there that I think will help you guys out, you know, as moving forward and as we do that. So, all right, hopefully you guys got a jump start on that. Like I said, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, so we're not going to work through the entire thing. But the big thing is have a target to shoot for. Make sure everybody in your company is aware of said target, and then figure out how many leads you need based on your closing rate to get there. You know, if you had to summer, that's the two things, right, at a minimum, and then you can work through some of this stuff, like I said, after that. So now that we have targets in place, we know we're going from 1 to 2.5 this year. All right, let's take a look at what we got to do. So now we got to look at the marketing strategy. And I might do, you know, I didn't get to do as many webinars as I usually do last year. We've been wide open, but I might hopefully have more time this year because I kind of like, in the past I've done webinars to break down different lead generating channels in more specifics for you guys, the fishing poles per se, right? We could talk about pay per lead, or we could talk about pay per click, or local service ads, but this is kind of a 30,000-foot view for you guys. We need to drive leads, we need to maximize conversions, and we need to optimize results. So, you should have an organic strategy in place. And whenever we talk about organic, we typically look at, your website rankings, aka SEO, which is search engine optimization, and Google business profile rankings, which is map pack rankings, right? We'll talk more about that a little bit, but you should be optimizing your website and your Google business profile to show up, because when people click and call you through those sources, like, it doesn't cost you anything, right? So that's the beautiful way about getting leads organically. And then you got to look at the paid sources. Paid is great. The unfortunate thing is, in our industry that we're in, like, you have to pay to play, and that's just the way it is. There's, it is not cheap. But there's, again, that's reality. Us as business owners, marketing directors, that's reality. Our job is to learn how to deal with it and figure it out. We can either throw up our hands and say, oh, this stuff doesn't work, or we can figure it out. If you're trying to grow and scale the company, you got to figure it out, right? And it is a little bit more expensive, but if you know what you're doing, you can still get, $150, $250 leads. And again, if you know how to close, why would you not pay for that? Our clients like, dude, yeah, I'll pay for that all day, every day. Like, crank it up. That's the part about paid advertising. And it's more of a dial. You can control it. Once you know, if you spend $1 and you can make 3, it's a money machine. So why in the world would you not? That almost eliminates the point of having a budget, is the way I look at it and the way we handle it. If you put in $1 and you get 3 back, what return are you going to get anywhere else in your business or in life in general on that? Like, and again, there might be some angles there, but again, if you figure it out, that's how you can scale from 5, 10, 15, 20 grand a month in ad spend. Because, if you're cranking out 250 on the back end, like, would you not put in 20 to get 250 back? So that's the beautiful thing about paid ads. And then database reactivation. This is something else we're actually looking into more and more right now, actually, because this, again, for a flooded house, a house on fire, people aren't checking their email in that instance, right? So you got to use common sense when it comes to this strategy, obviously. But duct cleaning, mold removal, crawl space encapsulation, kitchen remodeling, carpet cleaning, like, think about any services you do that you could be a recurring service. It's called database reactivation. You can email your lead and say, hey, it's spring cleaning, looking to get your carpets cleaned. We're doing $100 off in March to all of our previous customers. Just re-engaging your past clients is a great way to get more leads and jobs coming in the door with the assets you already have. Like, you already have that email list, that customer list. So why not leverage it to get more revenue coming in the door, right? So those are just a few ways to drive more leads. Then you got to look at maximizing conversion. You want to have a website built to convert. You want to have a good reputation and reviews online, and then you want to leverage automation. Speed to lead is the name of the game on everything that's not a phone call on a flooded house. There's a lot of other revenue and opportunities that come in the door. So you want to make sure you're leveraging automation and speed to lead to get and close those deals before your competition does. And then, there's optimizing the results. And I kind of touched on this a minute ago, but you got to look at your total spend. What's the input? What are the outputs? What needs to be optimized to, make the highest ROI possible? What's our average cost per lead? And then, at the bottom, I have the ROI there. That way you kind of know what's working best, what needs to be tweaked, and where to turn the dial. Because again, once you get these machines built, you literally can turn the dial to ramp up to get more leads. So, I wouldn't try to fix all these at once. I would just, because that's what I have on this slide. Like, I would pick 1 or 2. Maybe in January, you pick 1 or 2 to get up and running and or optimize if it needs to be optimized, and then kind of start chipping away one at a time from there. But think about, any of that stuff I covered, you're like, man, we're not even doing, local service ads yet, for example, which I'll talk about more in a minute. Maybe let's get that up and running, and then we can looking at turning the dial from there. And again, this is kind of a graphic I have about some other online strategies or fishing poles per se that you could put in the water to help get more leads, more lead consistency, which ultimately help you grow and scale your company, right? And we'll dive into some of these more as we go, but this is just kind of a 30,000 foot view of the different fishing poles you could have in the water, right? So again, I would, based on this graphic here, think about, maybe you don't have call tracking in place, maybe you don't have, your local SEO, Google business profile in place. So I would pick one or two of these maybe to start, and then start chipping away at them as the year goes on to help you hit those growth targets. So let's talk about the website for a minute, right? Having a website optimized to convert, because if you're getting traffic but the website's not converting, it's not doing any good, right? And again, like I have on this slide, most of the traffic, and again, not all of the traffic, I don't want to be clear on that, because with the pay-per lead, the website's not exactly relevant. But when it comes to traffic that flows through the Google business profile or SEO traffic, or maybe even email campaign traffic, they're going to end up on your website. Then they're going to decide whether they want to call you or not, right? So here's an example of, you're like, oh, Jamie, that sounds good. Like, why does it matter if my website's converting or not? So I did an example for you guys. Let's say your website's currently getting 1,500 visitors a month and you're converting at 5%. You're getting 75 leads a month, 30% conversion, 22 jobs. Average job ticket 3,000. That's 66,000 a month, right? And again, that's just that fishing pole. That's not even all the other fishing poles. That's why this stuff gets fun. But let's say, typically you want to find the biggest constraint in your business and remove it, right? And in this one, I just picked the 5% conversion rate. We're like, all right, that's a little low. So let's say we worked on that. The website was optimized, and there was a 50% improvement in the conversion rate, and went from 5 to 7.5%. And again, that's the only thing that changed in this, not the spend. Remember, this is just SEO traffic to the website. Well, that 75 calls is now 112 calls in a minute. Remember, it's still 30% conversion rate. So that 22 jobs went to 33 book jobs. So that's 99,000 a month. So just by finding and improving on that aspect alone, it freed up an additional $33,000 a month in revenue. And again, the 30% conversion rate, like, I think that's a little low. What's your sales process look like? Are people following up and asking for the order? So there's different ways you can improve each of these aspects to drive more revenue. But that one, I just wanted to focus on the website in particular, because it matters. And again, it's 2024. Like, I used to have to, like, people like, oh, I don't need a website. I mean, yeah, you can have a company without a website, but I'm like, dude, it's 2024. Do you really think Google and the internet's like going away? Like, I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but again, we generate thousands and thousands of jobs a year, all from internet marketing. I can promise you it works. So just something to think about if you still don't have, a website built to convert in place. Like, it's a huge money making opportunity. And again, there's more checklists and stuff in this workbook about that. But I got a few elements here I'm gonna talk about. So how do we, Jamie, can you give me some examples of some things we can do on our website? Yes, I'm glad you asked. Let's get into it. So here, and this is just 12 elements I picked. Again, we could go through some of this in the workbook, but make sure your website speaks to your target avatar, right? And when I say avatar, your ideal client. Some of you might do mold testing and mold removal. A lot of people don't want to mess with mold testing in this industry, right? A lot of you just want more mitt jobs. You don't even want to do the repair, recon, remodel stuff. But again, it's your business. You got to decide on that. And your website needs to be built to speak to that on the type of work you want. Real, authentic images of your team, your branded trucks, wrap trucks are great to add personalization, because there's a lot of cookie cutter websites out there that all look the same. What's a way to differentiate you in the marketplace versus everybody else? Real, authentic images, and branded, truck. And again, if you don't have any of this yet, it's fine. Like if you're a smaller company, like don't worry about it. It's not the end all. It's not everything. Like, should you still have a website? Yes. But as you grow and scale your company, you can kind of improve your website with some of this. And people will be like, man, yeah, this company looks legit. Let me give them a call. Versus when they end up on a cookie cutter website, they're like, man, I don't know. Like, I can't even tell what type of company this is, who it is, etc. Video. Um, this is more of an advanced strategy, but if you have video testimonials or like an about us video, you can have, a local video person in your market come shoot this. To add personality to your website, to make you look real and just trustworthy, like video can be a great element to add. Social proof, online reviews, great aspect for increasing your conversion rate. And then, yeah, like I have on here, number 5, get the basics in order. You want a phone right at the top right-hand corner. Make sure there's fill web forms in place, authority symbols, the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, are you a member of some of the associations, any awards you've gotten, any charities you contribute to, etc. All that adds credibility to your website. Make sure you have clear calls to action. Tell them, hey, call now for a free quote, whatever. You got to tell them what to do, right? You don't want them just there clicking around, not taking action. So that's what a call to action is hey, enter your email in here, or click to call. That's another thing too. Make sure, I think I have that on here. Yeah, number 8, make sure your website's mobile optimized with an easy click to call button. Because at least 60, it's anywhere from 50% desktop traffic, 50% mobile. It's kind of shifting more towards 60% mobile, 40% desktop traffic, right? So you want to make sure when people end up on your website on their phone, they can easily click the call, say, hey, my house is flooded, can you help, etc. You want to make it as easy as possible on those people. And then, yeah, any coupons or specials. I mean, again, that's more prevalent to like air duct cleaning, carpet cleaning, non-emergency based stuff. And then live chat widget, great way to capture traffic and leads. Booking online is another great option. Again, that's more relevant for non-emergency type stuff, but some of you might have CRMs where you can book an appointment straight from the website. Well, you can integrate that into your website where it funnels. You can embed that form on your website where they can just straight book an appointment with you without even having to talk to them. And then site speed, make sure your site is fast. Because if it takes too long to load, people are going to get frustrated and they're going to bounce and hop off and then go to your competitor's site, right? So site speed does matter a lot. And then you want to, make sure you have elements in place to be able to engage with the leads via SMS, leveraging automations and all that kind of stuff. So, if you haven't already, pull up your own site and take a look and see if there's any of those items I mentioned that maybe you don't have in place that you can get in place this year. And again, you don't have to do all these things at once, but at least start a list and start chipping away, on that list. So now let's say, all right, you've got some of those things in place. A huge opportunity that I see a lot of restoration companies aren't leveraging is, do you have a system in place to follow up with all the leads? Like all the leads that aren't a phone call emergency based, you gotta, it's speed to lead is the name of the game. And, it really should be 5 minutes, but leads that aren't followed up within 5 to 15 minutes go cold. And again, this is non-emergency based leads, but the average customer this day and age, 5 to 7 times before booking. Because look, you're busy, they're busy, the back and forth, they're running around doing errands, whatever. Like sometimes there's back and forth required to get the booked appointment. So that's where follow-up is critical. And then having things in place, and I only see this expediting as time goes on. Like a lot of people don't want to pick up the phone and make the call. They just want to chat, send a text message or send a chat or submit an email. So you have to make sure that all your online assets have a way to where those type of consumers, yes, we all want, hot leads that are a phone call. Like that's the obvious, right? But not everybody. You could be missing out on opportunities for people that don't want to call. They just want to shoot a quick text messages. So there are a few ways to solve this. Is having a CRM or marketing solutions in place that can follow up with the leads that come in within 2 minutes. I mean, so with our system, you can change it. It could be like 5 seconds if you want, or 2 minutes. I mean, you can change it. But there's automations in place that can immediately, like, hey, thanks for texting us. Tell me a little bit more about your issue, question mark. I mean, immediately. So whenever they email in, like, hey, I got mold in my attic, can you guys help? Like the system could take the phone number they submitted and text them instead of emailing them back. Boom, like that. That's speed to lead, because otherwise they might be out there filling out a couple other emails to, ServPro, Service Master, ABC Restoration, whatever it is. But if you're able to engage that lead before your competition does, that's low-hanging fruit. And then you want to automate the follow-up to where, if anybody that's done sales via texting or anything, it's like, you might text them like, hey, can I come check out your house tomorrow at 2 p.m.? And then maybe they got busy, they're picking the kids up from daycare or whatever it is, and they just never text back. And then you forget about it. That lead's gone. It's just because you got other phone calls, So what we do with our clients, one thing you guys can do is you have automations in place to what if you text said person like, hey, can I come check out the mold issue in your attic tomorrow at 2 p.m.? And what if they don't respond? Well, we have it set up to where it'll text them again. Again, we can set this an hour later, 5 hours later, 6 hours later. Hey, just following up. You still need to get that mold removed out of your attic? Let me know. It'll keep following up through the system without automatically for them. And then that way, yeah, we can set up to where they're followed up with 5 times to engage the lead. And so again, all right, Jamie, like this, I'm not really following you. Like what does this look like and why does it matter? Again, let's say you're not leveraging this. Let's say you're currently getting 44 leads a month. You're converting at 55%, but you don't have any follow-up in place and your leads are just all over the place. And, really the only ones you're able to work are the phone calls that come in. Like you don't even know, you're not even checking your email until 6 hours later. Like then you email them back and they never respond, right? I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that example. Well, and this over here on the left, let's just say, all right, well, there's 55% conversion rate. It's 24 jobs. At in this example, 3,200 average MIT job, that's 76,000 a month, right, in revenue. Well, let's say you put some of this in place and that bumped your conversion rate from 55 to 72%. Well, now that's 32 jobs a month instead of 24. That's 102,000 a month. So just by getting something like this in place can be an additional $25,000 a month in revenue. And again, that's not changing your ad spend. That's not changing anything else in your whole marketing sales funnel. This is just inserting the follow-up automation piece. And so I thought it'd be helpful for me to show you guys a real example. So I pulled this from one of our clients' accounts too. And again, you guys don't have to like. There's you guys can build this out yourselves if you want. I'm not saying like you have to work with us and use this. I mean, if you want to, obviously you can. We'll talk more about that later, but again, you can build this out on your own if you want. But so this was actually a missed call text back. Because again, everybody tells me, I answer the phone all the time and I close 100%. And I'm like, I bet you do, but wait till you get 300 calls a month and then we'll talk. And again, it happens. We all get busy. Life happens. There's going to be missed calls potentially. So what happens? This is the automation. So this was one of our clients down in Florida. But sorry, hey, this is Titan Restoration. Sorry, I missed your call. How can I help? And again, if she didn't text back, it would have texted her again. Hey, just following up. Do you have an issue we can help you solve? And again, we can cater the messaging to your needs, right, and what you do. But this particular lady said, Yeah, I had a roof leak, looking for some help. I already have a claim with insurance open. I mean, I want y'all to understand what just happened. This went from a missed call. Nobody in his office would have known what was happening. Everybody's running around like to job sites. It's just chaos, right? And so that missed call, nobody would have known, and then that lead would have gone to his competition. But instead, she texted in because we engaged speed to lead, right? Remember, that's the name of the game, speed to lead. She's like, I already have a claim open. This is easy money. So then all they do is text her back, call her back, email her back, whatever they got to do to call this like, hey, no problem. We saw your text messages. I'll dispatch a technician and he can actually come out this afternoon if that works for you, right? And then y'all have to run with the lead from there. But this is easy stuff you can get in place to make more money with the leads you already have coming through the pipeline. And again, this makes every lead you generate that much more valuable. And again, if you guys hang around to the end, you can meet with us to talk more about that if you want. If not, cool. Hopefully you're still getting some value from this. You guys can build this out internally in your own CRM if you want. Like, again, it's up to you. But our system, I took a quick snapshot. This is part of our restoration accelerator system we have, but we have all the fishing poles right out and running to pump leads to the different assets you have, website, landing pages, Google Business Profile. We capture all the leads in one place. I mean, we have a CRM or lead management system our clients use. And again, if you have your own, like, fine. I'm not here to like talk about that. But we have everything in one centralized place. And then right here, you can see where the appointment's set. We have all the automations following up with the leads automatically to engage them. And again, that's to save you guys time and money, right? At the end of the day, it's that's what that piece is for. So this is kind of what it could look like once you have all this stuff built out and connected properly. So, I just covered a lot. And I need a drink of water. But so maybe take a few minutes on your, your computer, your pen and paper. I mean, I had to cover at least something, hopefully, that maybe you don't have in place now that you can implement this year in your business to help you grow and scale, right? And again, I would just pick one or two. I wouldn't take all 12 of those website elements, for example. Just pick one or two or three of them. Maybe this quarter you get 3 of them implemented. Next quarter you pick 3 more. Because I'd rather you guys actually implement it and get something done than just saying you're going to do some of this and not do it. And then we do this webinar next year and you're like, well, my goal was 2.5, but I only did $1 million again. Like, I want you guys to actually implement some of the stuff we're covering. All right, let's keep rolling. Yeah. All right, thanks for you guys hanging in there. It's been 50 minutes. I'm going to try to, I don't think I have, well, I do have quite a bit more to cover, but I'll try to pick it up a little bit. All right, so now we got all that in place, for example. This will be a little shorter, but you have to, you can't, there's a saying, you can't manage what you don't measure, right? So that's where KPIs come into play. That's key performance indicator is what that stands for. So an easy, simple way to do that is to have call tracking in place so you can look at your average cost per lead generated. And you can have some sort of dashboard to take a look at this. And here's another quote too: what gets measured gets done, right? Like if you're not tracking any of this or looking at it, how do you know what's working and what's not? Right? You're kind of winging it. And it's hard to hit your goals if you're just winging it. A lot of CRMs or dashboards, this is a snapshot from ours. Like you can track quote amounts and lead amounts by source if you want. Like, hey, this month I got 20 grand, I got 20,000 of outstanding quotes on local service ads. I got 40 grand from pay-per-click. But you could track revenue by source in hours. If you already have one, you could probably do it in there, right? So build this out, figure it out in your own intern. And again, if you don't have any of that, you can start with a simple Google sheet or Excel sheet. Just start looking at all your leads, all your quote amounts, your closing rate, your average job amount. Just start tracking all that. Then you can get fancy later, right? But just starting it is the most important part. But you don't know what's broken if you're not tracking it. So that's what the point I want you guys to get and think about. So far, we've talked about your goals and targets, any gaps you might have in your marketing strategy. We've talked a little bit about website optimization, lead follow-up, and then, now you need to track, like I said, as the starting point, just put some call tracking in place. That way you can see, you're looking at what you're spending, how many leads you're getting, and your average cost per lead, right? Just start there, then you can get fancy down the road. So now this is the more fun part, at least I think. What are some key trends for 2024? And some of you already maybe have in place, you've heard of, some of you maybe not. I'd say there'll be a little bit of both of what I'm going to talk about. So local service ads, those are blowing up. We are seeing some changes in the marketplace, but that's how Google operates. This stuff is not set it and forget it. It's actually super frustrating from our perspective how often Google makes changes, but that's our reality, so we have to deal with it, and we do, but it's just tricky because it's always getting shifted around. We're seeing this too, a lot of shift from phone calls and just emails to chat widgets and text messaging, etc. Like that stuff is just because, again, the younger generations, younger demographics, they're used to that more than just old school picking up a phone, right? So, landlines, I mean, think about landlines. I mean, yes, businesses are still using landlines, but outside of that, like cell phones, I mean, everybody has them, right? And then, an all in perspective, SEO, pay-per-click, local service ads, Google Business Profile, pay-per-lead, maybe some of you guys are working with TPAs. I mean, there's a lot of different fishing poles that you can put in the water to get more leads and jobs. But our most successful clients, they put multiple in the water because, again, the ebbs and flows of leads and jobs in this industry is real. So having an all-in approach, I think this will always be a trend. It's just a good strategy that works, because if one of those fishing poles just quits working for whatever reason, you're out. Your lead source is gone. Then what are you going to do? And that's a situation I don't want any of you guys to be in. And then, reviews and reputation management are critical. And that is I've been saying this for years, and and we watch this, we track it. It is only becoming more and more relevant by the day. And then AI is becoming a factor more and more. And AI stands for artificial intelligence. Some of you might be watching that, paying attention to it. We are big time, because we're going to figure out how to use it for our clients to make more money. Because, again, in my opinion, as an owner of this company, my job is to innovate and make sure we're ahead of the curve, not getting run over by it, stuff like this. And it is not going away, in my opinion. So from my perspective, and what we do for our clients is like, hey, why don't we be on top of it and figure out how to use it to make our clients more money, instead of just getting blindsided about it and just being irrelevant in 3 years. So just something to think about, if you're the marketing director for a restoration company or you're the owner, I would be keeping my ear to the ground and eyes open on just AI and how it's going to impact. I mean, it's going to impact the world as a whole, I think, but specifically, this is about business and all that. So it'll make all facets of business a little bit easier as time goes on. So something to think about. And again, that's more of an advanced strategy, but just, some of the other stuff I've covered, I would make sure you have that in place first. So local service ads and the crazy thing is I took this, I think a month ago, the screenshot. It's even different now. It's not even 3. This is a desktop screenshot. But if you look on mobile, if you do a mobile search on your phone, it'll be 2 listings vertically. And then on desktop, it's only 2 horizontal. See, it used to be 3. Remember, Google's always changing. And I left this in here because I was like, well, I want you guys to see, like, this stuff does change quickly. So I wanted to leave this old graphic in here just to make that point. But the Google, some of y'all, some people call it Google guaranteed service ads, local service ads, Google local service ads. It's all the same thing. It's Google's pay per lead platform. If you're not doing it, do it today or tomorrow, because it is a great lead generating source. And again, I have this on here, Google guaranteed. If you've heard somebody say that, it's the same thing as local service ads. That's what they're talking about. And Google does put its own tracking number in place on this, because they have an AI algorithm like that listens to the calls, and they'll mark it whether it's quality or not quality. But you can dispute these leads if it's not a good lead. For all you that use pay-per-lead, 33 mile, service direct, typically you can dispute the lead if it's not a good lead, so you don't have to pay for it. Well, guess what? Local service ads is the same way. Now, sometimes, Google's a little difficult about the leads, but again, that's just the way it is. We got to deal with it. But Google does put a tracking number in there, and then you can listen to the calls in the portal. And we actually put call tracking in place for all the fishing poles for our particular clients, because again, if you can't manage what you don't measure. So that's why we like to do that. So that way, we can keep a pulse on what's going on, and our clients can as well. But it is pushed down all the other lead generating sources down the page, right? So look, you got the local ads, and now pay-per-click is below it. And then Google Business Profile, which used to be called Google My Business, same thing. Again, Google just being Google, changing all, what they want to call this stuff. Google My Business, Google Business Profile now, same thing. It's the map pack. I like to call it the money box sometimes, because it's still the best. Once you get ranking, and if you have a decent reputation, it still seems to be one of the best lead generating, fishing poles per se for our clients at least. But now this is down the page due to local service ads, and then you have organic SEO, which is your website rankings down below that, right? So local service ads has kind of pushed everything down the page. So how does it work? You got to fill out an application, and then Google's going to run a background check on you. You got to provide insurance. Yeah, I have that on here. Insurance. They want to see your certificate of insurance, or your your deck page, to make sure you're insured. They just want to make sure you're legit, right? Because Google, I don't know if you knew this or not, but the Google guaranteed part of it, once you get verified and set up, Google guarantees the customer up to $2,000 that you're going to do good work for them, or they get $2,000. So in order Google to back you, they want to do a background check on you and see if you have insurance, and just make sure you're a legit, reputable operation before they're going to let you do this. So that's where the Google guaranteed aspect came from. And then, we've seen, and again, this has already gone up. We've been doing this for years for a lot of our clients, but like everything, inflation has hit everybody in this day and age, right? The past year or two, especially. Well, that funnels into all this as well. So the cost per lead, though, I see, and actually this, because we have one of our guys, he's getting water leads for $33 a pop somehow. I don't even know how. And again, that's not normal. But again, it depends on your market, your competition, what your competition's willing to pay, how much volume's in your market. Some of our guys are getting water leads for $33 a pop. That is not normal, to be quite honest with you. Like, a lot of times it'll range, because people in Miami and Houston and Dallas and LA, I can promise you they're not getting water leads for $33 a pop, right? Those are going to be closer to $250, $300, $350. But a lot of their average ticket's $5,500 though. So, you might be like, man, that's expensive. Well, if you're making $5,500, like, would you not spend $300 to make $55? That's because the math works out. If you're good, you have a streamlined operation, like, it makes sense to just ramp up your marketing here. But I have this note here. You have to just get this up and running, and then you'll be able to look in your dashboard to see what you're paying per lead. But you only pay for exclusive leads. That's why our clients, I'm like, dude, you want to pay for as many of these leads as you can, because here, I want to say this will help drive the point home. It's typically, I should have put this as a bullet point on here, but I can add it right now, really. Typically 50 to 75% off of the going pay per lead rate. So what do I mean by that? Some of y'all might work with 33 Mile. If not, it's a pay-per-lead provider that focuses on restoration companies too. I mean, they work with other industries as well, but they've been doing this a while, like we have, right? They've been in the restoration game a long time. So a lot of our partners will use them as well. On average, let's just call it $350 a pop, right? So what we're seeing, our clients that are paying $350 for a lead, we're running local service ads for them. Well, that same type quality lead is typically half 50 to 75% cheaper than what they're paying 33 miles. So if it's 350 in that market, they might be paying 125 for an exclusive water lead from local service ads. So once they get that, they're like, Jamie, I want to spend as much money as I physically can on local service ads, please, because it's half off. So why wouldn't you? Because they also know as this year goes on, as we get into next year, that 125 is going to be 150. As more and more restoration companies start doing this, because you can set a bid limit on what you want to pay, what is that going to do? It's going to drive up the cost of per lead. But the point I'm trying to make is you got to get it while the getting's good. And now the getting is still good. So I would get this up and running and spend as much as you can now. And again, this is assuming that you can handle the phone calls, you know how to close, etc. If you can't, that might be another problem that needs to be solved. But this is a great lead generating source. And we're seeing Google trying to funnel more and more traffic to local service ads. And again, it's a lower cost per lead than pay-per-click. It's higher quality leads than Angie's, Thumbtack, Home Advisors. A lot of those platforms are shared leads. If any of you guys have used them, you hate them typically, right? I've heard that hundreds of times over the years. You will also get some price shoppers every now and then. And again, nobody wants that, but you know, on that note, like if you're doing marketing and you're a business owner, like that's part of the game. Yes, we all want an emergency flood, and you literally just answer the phone, you get out there and you close the job. But anybody could do that. That's the easy part. Once you learn how to do the rebuild, like for any of y'all that do rebuild recon, if you give them a quote, the people you ever heard the saying fortunes in the follow-up? Man, our clients that do that, we actually had, it's funny, and again, I'm not saying do this, but one of our clients did it, and this is why he runs a multiple $1 million operation, because he got a big mold lead, and we're like, man, we were asking him, did you land it? It was like a $50,000 mold. It was a huge mold issue. And he's like, no, they haven't made a decision yet, so I'm gonna drive out there tomorrow. He drove to the job to follow up and he's like, yeah, I landed it. Because he's the only one that drove to the house. Hey, sorry, I just want to follow up. Did you decide what you want to do with that mold issue? And again, so I'm bringing up my point because I get passionate about this, as you can tell. Like, there's price shoppers, like that's business. That we just have to learn how to deal with it. And yes, we do optimize and try to get more high buyer intent, emergency-based leads. Yes, we do, because we know if that makes your job easier, we're going to go after that. But if you learn how to close price shoppers and you have a follow-up system in place, there, remember the fortunes in the follow-up. So and again, some people will call through the local service ad, hey, I'm looking for a quote, my house flooded, it's already been extracted, but I need somebody to rebuild, whatever, etc. Just learning how to deal with that from any source will make you guys a lot of money this year, is the point I'm trying to make. And the ROI from local service ads, like, again, if you have everything I just talked about in place, the ROI is huge. So what are the next steps? If you're a partner with us and you're on here, welcome, and appreciate you working with us as always. And obviously, get with your account manager on what your goals are if you haven't already. Usually we do that in December with our partners, but if you haven't already had a meeting about your, hitting your goals, reverse engineering it, book a time with your partner manager, and we'll do a deep dive with you on all this stuff. But if you don't, if you're not a partner with us, it's fine. Like, you can set this up on your own, get the background checks going, get your insurance, go find your CO, your certificate of insurance, because Google's going to want to see that. And then get it rolling in your market, turn it on, and see what kind of what Google's charging you on a per lead basis, and then you can grow and scale your budget from there. Get your follow-up systems in place. I've already gone enough rants about that, I feel like, so it's just super important. Have automated follow-up in place to help. Again, you want to leverage technology the best you can. And then again, make sure this is a lot of different fishing poles that we put in the water for our partners. Again, maybe pick 1 or 2 or 3 of these to get in place this quarter to help you grow and scale. So that's kind of time back to the comprehensive marketing approach I mentioned on key trends in 2024. This has kind of already been a trend, but it's not going away because people's attention is getting spread in all kind of places. So that's why you want multiple poles in the water to, for wherever they are, you want to be front and center to where whenever they have that issue, you're the restoration company they think about. And then reviews. This is a huge, because here's the thing, getting you ranked is, I don't want to say the easy part, but because it's not always easy, but hopefully your marketing company you're working with knows how to do that. Because what you want to get ranking in the top, because once you're at the top, whoever's ranking number one gets the most phone calls, is why this matters. Now, what is the next thing people look at once you're into the map pack that I'm showing here, right? This is a 3-pack. Remember, this is organic listing. This is what Google business profiles look like in the search engine results page. But the next thing people look at is the reviews. In this example, one of our clients, 429 reviews compared to 41 and 7, right? And again, I'm not here to like say anything bad about anybody. It's fine. Like, would Priority and Elite get some leads and calls from this? Maybe some, but I can promise you they're not getting as many as CPR is. That is why, there's a lot of like funny business going on in this day and age too, right? So people's trust levels with companies and just everything is lower. So how do we combat that? You have a good reputation in the marketplace. You take care of your customers. So how do you let people know you do that? You have reviews on your Google profile. And again, we focus on Google because Google produces high buyer intent quality leads. That's what most of our clients want. So that's why we put a lot of our focus on Google, and we put a lot of our focus on getting reviews on the Google business profile. And just to give you an example, because we talked about this in one of our team meetings recently, because we record all the leads, for our clients and everything. But one of our account managers brought up, man, he got a job. The insurance agent told him to call Paul Davis. And again, if any of you guys are Paul Davis, I'm not here to this is just one particular franchisee. We work with Paul Davis, right? So I'm not in this particular instance, we were working with an independent restoration company. His competition was the local Paul Davis, which wasn't one of our clients, so it's fine. But the insurance agent called or told him, hey, told this lady, hey, call Paul Davis. We refer them a lot of work. Well, we heard this on the call recording. My insurance agent told me to call about Paul Davis. I Googled him. I didn't like the review rating on Google. I found you at the top. You had a ton of reviews. I want you to do the work, not them. We literally heard this on a call recording. So when people are like, Jamie, nobody looks at this stuff doesn't matter. I'm like, you have no idea on the revenue and the amount of money you're missing out on by getting this stuff in place. Like, we literally hear it all day, every day on the call recordings. So can you get 400 reviews tomorrow? No, you can't. But have a proactive review acquisition strategy in place throughout this year and forever. Because and one more point on this, why is this happening? And again, I've been saying this for years, and it's coming to fruition. And we're seeing, all of you have probably heard of Amazon. What do you do when you go to Amazon? You do a search. You look at the products. You look at the product reviews. You purchase said product. What has been happening for years, and we're seeing this speed up. People are doing the same thing on Google when it comes to service companies, right? We're in the service, restoration is the service industry. They're going to Google. They're doing a search. They're looking at the top companies. They're looking at reviews. They're making the phone call. So that trend is only going to keep expediting and picking up, is the point I'm trying to make. So it is super important to have a reputation management review acquisition strategy in place, because it is only going to speed up. Now, this is more, like I said, a more advanced strategy, but again, this is where the world's going. So the way I look at it is we're going to figure out how to leverage it, and our clients are going to make more money from it. So AI, artificial intelligence, we're actually working on this now. And again, I'm just planting the seed in your brain so you're at least thinking about it this year. But we're looking at, the automations are in place to do the follow-up. What if there was an AI bot specific and trained on your company that handled the text messaging back and forth, like, hey, I got mold issue in my attic. Can you guys help? And the AI bot literally be like, oh yeah, no problem. We can help you with that. Tell me a little bit more about it. And again, all this would have to be built out and trained on your specific company, but the AI will go back and forth. Hey, yeah, we can for sure help you with that. Can we come out and take a look tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Yeah, no problem. I'll actually be home then. The AI bot will be doing all this. It'll be linked to your calendar. You'll log in and be like, mold removal appointment in Lisa or Bob's attic tomorrow, 2 p.m. You didn't do anything. The AI bot, and again, we're integrating it into our lead management system we have with all these automations. But again, you could probably build this out on your own if you have somebody internally that maybe specializes in this. I mean, it's a heavy lift. Like, I'm in charge of this now in our company, and it always takes longer and it costs more than you think it'll take. But this is something we're going to be rolling out probably at the end of quarter 1 for our clients, just because again, I don't think we have an option. We have to figure it out, because in another 1, 2, 3 years, like, the world is going to be in a whole different. The way we operate and do business is going to change. And so again, I look at this from my job is to figure out how to leverage it. So just something to and start playing with AI if you haven't already, just because there's a lot of use cases for this. This is just one example. Man, yeah, I've already gone on. It's appreciate you guys hanging on here. I've talked for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm almost done. And again, I don't. This stuff works in the real world. I don't want to spend too much time. I already showed you guys these are a few text messages our clients text us in all the time about some of the jobs they're getting, but all this stuff I'm talking about, it works. Is it perfect? No, it's not. Marketing and business is not perfect. It's ever evolving, but I'm telling you, this stuff works in the real world. Now, from an online perspective, this is some of the stuff I might be breaking down and doing more webinars on throughout the year. A webinar specific on websites, specific on SEO, Google Maps, online, pay-per-click. So just keep an eye out on your email. And if our emails are in your spam folder, that's a whole other animal that we're trying to figure out. But if our emails, if you do want to stay in the loop on any new trainings, podcasts, webinars I'm going to be doing throughout the year, whitelist our email if you don't mind. Like, if you find us in your spam box, just mark it not spam, and that way you'll be able to be in the loop on whenever the next webinar I'm going to do. Because like I said, every now and then I'm going to try to do a deep dive on each of these fishing poles for you guys, so you can understand how to get it in place, and as you grow and scale. So go through the workbook too that I sent you guys in the chat. It should be working since I figured out how to work the chat. But spend some time building that out, and pick out, maybe just the top 3 marketing initiatives you're going to have in quarter 1, or even, if that's too much and you don't have a big team yet to help you build this stuff out, maybe just pick 3 for the whole year, right? That's, your schedule and what you can actually accomplish better than I do. But I would recommend, pick 2 to 3 items maybe for Q1 and see if you can get those implemented. So we've covered a lot today, and I'm going to wrap up here soon. We've set targets. We've looked at your KPIs. We've looked at the different marketing channels, and we've budgeted that accordingly. And again, you can work more with that calculator here when we get off the call to truly know where you need to be spending more. And you can finish that out. Now, some of you you're like, Jamie, I'm busy. I don't have time to do any of this. Like, can I just hire you guys to do it for us? Like, yes, that's why we exist. So if you do want to talk with us about your particular situation, your particular market, fishing poles, etc., we do free consultations, so you guys can book a call with us if you'd like, and we can chat. And if not, hopefully you guys, no hard feelings. Like, it's fine. Hopefully you guys got some value from today's webinar. And honestly, if you go through the workbook and use that calculator I shared with you, hopefully you'll get a ton of value from that, because those can at least get you on the steered in the right direction. But I'm going to drop our scheduling page in the chat. So if any of you guys do want to, like I said, talk with us specifically about your specific situation, it's a free consultation. You can use that link in the chat to book a call at the day and time that's convenient for you. We can talk from there. So that's all I have for